Hello friends! Welcome to this month's Chalk Art program. I am Miss Kristy and I am your Assistant Children's Librarian here at the North Shelby Library, which is your library. And today we are going to be learning how to make art in a backwards kind of way, almost inside out. We're going to be using something called negative space art. Now, what in the world is negative space art? Well, whenever you are going to draw a picture, you have to decide first what you're going to draw. So I have a little piece of orange paper right here, and just to show you what negative space art is, this is our paper. And what am I going to draw today? I think I'll draw a pumpkin. So you might make your lines like this. You might draw squigglies for the stem on your pumpkin. You might give your pumpkin a Halloween look since we are doing this program in October. I'm going to make my pumpkin into Mr. Jack-o'-lantern with a snaggletooth. And finish him off. So this is a picture that I'm drawing. Now in art, it has something called a negative space and a positive space. And that doesn't mean good or bad. That just means where you are looking in your picture. Positive space in your piece of artwork would be, in this picture, anything that has what you are drawing. So our pumpkin is what we drew in this picture. So that is our positive space. Negative space is everything else, whatever is not the main thing that you're drawing. So this would be negative space, this would be negative space, all of this would be negative space. Let me show you an example of a picture that has both negative space and positive space. I have created a vase here, and if you look, anything in black on this side is the negative space because I have drawn half of my vase and I've decorated it with flowers. But here I have emptied out and not colored, not used or drawn on the positive space. And instead I decided I was going to color on all this extra negative space. So this is an example of a drawing that uses both positive space drawing and negative space drawing. So we're going to create art using the negative space to draw. How would we do that? Well, let's look at what we're going to draw today. I'm going to move my pumpkin out of the way and I'm going to replace it with a completed example of our artwork. This is what we're going to draw. This is a city scene, and this uses negative space. If you look carefully, you will see that we have lots of buildings, but it looks like we have put all of our drawing effort on the outlines of the picture. To do that, we used shapes that we cut out that we call templates. So this is one of the templates that you will be using for this picture that we will be discussing more in just a minute. And you can see it looks kind of like building shapes. So this would be the positive space, and anything else that we would actually draw on would be the negative space. So we're going to be doing our drawing inside out, aren't we? Drawing on the negative space instead of the positive space. Now we are ready to begin our drawing. So we will move our scissors. We don't need those anymore. We will get our chalk and we will pull our templates into place. Now remember, this is a negative space drawing. A negative space is where you draw any place that your main picture is not. So if we look at this white piece, that looks like our buildings, doesn't it? This will be what we're drawing, the buildings. The negative space will be all the dark space around it, and this is where we will be doing our drawing. This one is very simple. All you need to do is place your template onto the paper. Now you can place it just like this, or if you want to be fancy or just creative, you can shift it a little bit and place it in slightly different areas. But we'll start, just to show you, with just lining it up here at the bottom and getting ready to go. So the first thing I'm going to do now that I have it placed is grab a color. I'm going to pick a nice bright red for this one. Your kit has different colored chalk, and it does not have to be the same color, and you may not have the same colors, but that's okay. Just pick a color that you like. And what we're going to do, we are not going to draw on the main part of the picture. We're going to draw in the negative black space. So I'm going to take my chalk and I am just going to trace a nice heavy line with a good bit of chalk dust all the way around my template. You can go as fast or as slow as you want, but try to stay close to the edge. I'm just going to go all the way around. With this one, you notice I'm pushing my chalk back and forth to get lots of chalk onto my picture because I want it to be nice and dark. And the more times you rub it across, the more chalk you put on there, the darker it gets, or the brighter it gets. You can really see that chalk. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but there's a lot of dust on here. We're going to use that dust, and we're going to make this outline look like the glowing lights of a nighttime city. So I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to place it to the edge of my white area. And I'm just going to push up and away from my white area, just like this. Did you see how that smeared? Let's do it again. See how that smears? And also the extra dust, it just kind of gets pushed into that black so it doesn't, it holds on better and it doesn't just fly off all over the place. So I'm just going to smear straight up. When I get to a corner, I'm just going to keep going out and away from the edges of my white. When I get to the top, I'm going to start going up again. When I go this side, I'm going to go in this direction. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just keep pushing away. Let me move the rest of my chalk out of the way. So we're push. That's all we're doing. And I'm going to go a little faster. You can go as slow or as fast as you want. But my goal is to just spread that chalk out and away. When I'm done, it's already starting to look interesting. But let's take away our template and see what we have. We have a nice, it looks like it's glowing, doesn't it? A nice glowing outline of our city, or at least some of our buildings. Now, a city has a lot of different buildings, so you know what? I think I want to add some more. This time, just to be different, I was using half A. Now I'm going to use half B, but I'm not going to place it right on top. I want to put it somewhere else. I think I'm going to go lower this time. And maybe, you know what, let me just wiggle it over this way. So it's kind of overlapping in places, but it's like another row of buildings in the front. And this time, instead of choosing my red, I'm going to pick a different color. This time I'm going to pick purple. That's the color I have. You can pick a different color. And it's the same thing. I'm going to trace with a nice dark line all the way around my template. Just like this. And just keep on going. Try to keep everything as still as possible. Try to keep your black paper still and try to keep your white paper still so they don't go sliding all over the place. Miss Kristy has her fingers right here holding it all in place. I'm pushing down to hold it so it doesn't slide around. So let's take our finger again and let's rub it again. And I'm going very fast, but you don't have to go fast. You can go slow if you want to. And think about what direction you want your chalk to be. All right, now I'm finished. Let's lift that one up. Oh, now my city is really starting to come together. Do you see the pattern of what we're doing? We're placing our template down, we're tracing it, and we're smearing it. And each time we place it down, we're going to put it in a slightly different place. Maybe, I've done this 2 times, maybe try it about 3, 4, or 5 times. The number is not important. You can do it any way you want to. So I'm going to take half B again, and I'm just going to wiggle it way over here and go almost to the top this time. And I'm going to pick another color, this time green, and I'm going to go down to the edge. And if you want, you can go all the way down, or you can just leave it like it is. It's up to you. Either way is perfectly fine. I think for this one, I'm just going to go halfway because that's what I want to do. You can do it any way you want. And then do my nice strong line around the edges until I'm done. And then I'm going to, even though this one has gone off the page, I'm just going to push very carefully with my fingers, push outward, as if it were touching the white all the way down. If you make a mistake, that's okay. Just keep on going. All right. There's another layer just for me. I'm going to keep playing and seeing what I can come up with. You do the same. When you registered for this program, you were given a supply kit that you could pick up from the library before the program started. In this supply kit, you will have several different pieces. One is a template that we provided for creating our buildings. You have a half A and a half B. You have black construction paper that you can use to create your drawing on, colored chalk, and a written set of instructions in case you needed them. You'll also need to have and supply at home a pair of scissors so that you can cut out your template at home. In addition to this, I kind of just threw in there some extra pieces. We have a couple of pumpkin shapes here, different types. We have positive and negative versions of that, and you can hopefully use that to be inspired to create a second piece on your own, or make your own templates that are completely different. So that's up to you. Let's get started. The first thing you want to do is cut out your building. If you need a grown-up or somebody to help you cut them out, that is perfectly fine. But what you'll want to do is follow the directions, cut along the dotted lines. So we will do that right now. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but just try to get it as close as you can. Oh. And if you drop it, that's okay too, as you work. I have finished cutting out our templates. We have a half A and a half B now completely separated. Now we are going to be using both of these to create our buildings, because if you will look carefully, you will see that if you turn one of them upside down, you actually have different building layers. And each half looks a little different because one is turned one way and one is turned the other way. Here is my drawing. Now as you can see, I added a couple of more layers of color. We have green, we have pink or red, we have purple, white, and kind of an orange yellow. So I have 5 different sections of buildings layered on top of each other. What do we do next? Well, next we need windows. So to make our windows, we need to decide where we're going to put them. First, I'm going to look and see where I can find a very clear window building shape. So here's one right here. Now, if you've ever looked at windows in a big skyscraper building, they are little squares that are in rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many there are. It depends on how big the building is. Sometimes they're big windows, sometimes they're teeny tiny windows. So I'm just going to start with a row. I'm just going to squiggle. That looks almost like a square. And just start making rows of little tiny windows. That doesn't really look much like squares. It kind of looks like ovals almost, but that's okay. It does not have to be perfect. And in fact, it's better if it's not perfect. And I'm just going to do a few rows of buildings. And since it's nighttime, this building has all of its windows brightly lit. There's somebody in every single building room with their lights on. You can also pick another spot where maybe not all the lights are on. This is a nice big building right here, this little skyscraper. So I'm going to do bigger buildings, but I'm not going to do a even row 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to do a couple on the top because that kind of looks almost like maybe there should be a window here and a window here, but the lights are out. So I'm just going to add a few more. Maybe all the lights are on this row. Now, if you want to, you can go ahead and put another window right here, but I think I'm going to pretend like maybe part of this building is blocking those lights, so they're hiding behind it and you can't see them. So I'll just keep doing it like that. Here's another row I want to add. And maybe I'll add another one here and another one here. Okay, where else do I want to add lights? Let's add some little bitty ones just across the top here. I'm just going to do little bitty windows because this building is full of tiny, tiny windows. So I'm just going to do little short lines, like little chick, 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 check mark, chick marks. And maybe here I'll do a little tic-tac-toe almost with those lights. Maybe another one right here. And these windows are big and long, so I'm going to make longer lines here. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Keep doing your little white marks in different places all across your buildings until you have as many as you want. They can be as many or as few. This is your building, your city. You can make your city any way that you want to. So let's see if we can finish this page and come back and see what we've done. Here is my completed drawing. I think that turned out pretty good. You can make your buildings look any way you want to. And in fact, you can make other things using different templates if you feel like it. I have an extra sheet of paper that I included that if you wanted to, you could see what you could create with the other templates that I provided. What could you come up with? Maybe you could come up with something like this, or something else entirely. You can make your templates from anything you want. Thank you for participating today, and I hope you had a good time. Please post your completed drawings on our Facebook page for the North Shelby Library.